Hey friends, before we dive into this week's episode, just a heads up. Our podcast talks about suicide, sexual abuse, and other trauma, and some of what you hear may be triggering, so please listen with care. This is The Survivors, real stories, raw conversations, and the truth about what it means to keep going after the hardest things. We're so glad you're here. Let's keep surviving together.
So can you believe it's like second week in January 2026? No. Isn't that a little ridiculous?
I think somebody needs to take their friggin' finger off of the fast forward button, because how has it been 6 years since the vid happened?
I don't know.
That's what blows my mind.
I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
How much the world has changed in the last 6 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm choosing not to think about that in this moment. If it's all the same to you, trying to, we're surviving everything else at this moment. I don't want to have to survive the memory and the trauma of that too. God. But I do think it could be an interesting conversation if we talked about the thing that I think so many people are dealing with. Like, I know you and I have been talking about this a lot lately. If we really call out the fact that, okay, big push, got through the holidays, here we are, top of the new year, right? Everybody's all energized, everybody's good to go. Let's just nail it. And yet everybody's exhausted and unmotivated and totally emotionally flat right now that they've hit the new year, or like totally tapped out. And can we talk about that, please?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a very real thing to feel the burnout, because you're going and going and going. Like we talked about it before, where the holidays are supposed to be this joyous thing, and it's really not anymore. The joy of Christmas is gone, and it's all about surviving it now. And what that does to our psyche as a human being. And then we get on the other side of it in January, and then we look back and we're like, oh my Lord. Did we really even get to enjoy that? Yeah,
because now you're paying all the bills and you're doing all the emotional cleanup, and you're trying to get back into a rhythm because everybody's off their routine for weeks leading up to that, and you're supposed to just snap into the holiday with like all this renewed intention and your whole list of New Year's resolutions, and I feel like most people that I talk to are just like, leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I don't have any capacity for anything else. And I feel like it's really important that you and I acknowledge the fact that does not mean someone's broken or doing it wrong.
Right.
You're not. And you're totally not alone, because I know you and I have been like messaging each other a lot lately and talking a lot lately about just how spent we both are. And I wish it wasn't that way. I would love to just kind of round into the new year and feel like super engaged and like, let's go. But it's just not, there's just an emotional drop, I think. And, all of a sudden you don't have to show up in the way that you did for those weeks and months leading up to the holidays. And now it's like, what do you do now? How do you settle back in now? So I don't know. I just feel like,
and too, with people like us, that not only are we first and foremost are we parents, but we show up at other things that we are working on behind the scenes that most people don't know about. Our podcast, for example, this takes time and energy, and we love doing it. Absolutely. But it's just one more thing on our plate. You've got the Help Hub. I have my small business that I just recently launched. And we continue to add these things on. You're a volunteer for the Trevor Project. I've, trying to launch my social media career through TikTok, things like that. And it's just like the things keep adding up. And then yet one day you just stop and you look, okay, something's got to give here. I cannot continue to do this, or I'm going to crash and burn.
Yeah. And I think everybody just slides into the new year. I know I have this intention when I hit the new year, wanting to just make sure everything's in balance and full steam ahead. And that's just like, you're in go mode, I feel like, at least myself. And it becomes, I think, unrealistic to think that just because we've slid into the new year, that all of a sudden everything's just going to start clicking and firing the way that it needs to. Like once the decorations come down and all that holiday, I guess, frenzy is gone, that you're just going to reset. And it doesn't work that way. Like, I don't think anybody accepts the fact that for most of the month of January, people are they're just empty
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways.
And I kept hearing a lot of people, towards the last few, towards the new year, what are your New Year's resolutions, New Year's? And I'm like, no, I'm done with New Year's resolutions. Number one, nobody sticks with them. If you do, you're like the 1%. And so I had heard another creator talk about, like, what is your word of the year? I was like, I could do that. What is your word?
I like
your
that.
one word that you're going to work towards for the year. And mine is rise.
Oh.
And what that means for me is that I've, through this, what you and I have created together, what we're working on social media channels and things like that, is I feel like I'm able to rise and to step into my purpose in being a mental health advocate and being in this space, because I have floundered for so many years, not knowing where I was meant to be. And I've finally found that. So I'm rising into my purpose.
Oh, the second the word came out of your mouth, I'm like, well, that's a perfect word for you. I mean, it really is. It really, really is. I like that. I like the cutting loose of the expectation that we have to have this long list of resolutions. You're right. What is the statistic? It's like 78% of people blow off their resolution after the first 10 days of the holiday or something like that.
Yep.
And I think it's so
2
true.
2 weeks or less.
It's all this incredible pressure. And what I think we should do is I think the whole month of January should just be a mulligan. You know what I mean? Where it's just like a gimme, where people just get to just kind of find their bearings again and slowly get their priorities straight. I think this whole idea of having resolutions, I've gone back and forth in my life where I'm like, okay, let's have the resolutions. It's helpful. It can be like a guardrail. And other times where I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, why do we put that much pressure on ourselves? So I like the idea of a word. And I think if I had to come up with my own word, I think this would be the year of impact.
Okay.
Making an impact. And I don't just mean on other people's lives. I mean on my own life too, because I tend to forget that. Everything I tend to do is so outward facing. Like, how can I put content out in the world that helps people? How can I support the people out in my life who I care about and love, or the communities that I'm part of? I also want to make an impact on my own life. I want to make positive changes on my own life that serve me. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with the word impact for myself.
I love that.
I like our words.
Yes.
So why do you think, in your opinion, why do you think this sense of burnout hits so hard after the holidays?
Well, number one, it's all the buildup of it. I think, getting the presents for all the kids, making sure that, or the extended family, making sure the house is decorated, attending the holiday parties, work, personal holiday parties. Like, there is just so much on everybody's plate during the holidays. And I want to say particularly for the mothers, because it's up to the mothers oftentimes to make that time magical.
Yeah, true. So true. Not to knock dads at all, because obviously they are all super involved also. But for a lot of us, we're the point people. We're the ones at home. We're the ones who are pulling it all together. And it's a lot. I feel like in some ways, January may even be, now that I'm feeling what I'm feeling this January might even feel even more stressful in some ways, because there's this expectation that we have to just step out of the holidays and into like a whole brand new renewed routine. And I'm feeling the stress of that, actually, for the first. Yeah, I am. I'm kind of realizing it as the words are coming out of my mouth, that I don't know. I guess maybe I do have this long laundry list of things that I would love to accomplish this year. And I want to have all the energy and enthusiasm to do it, but I mean, and you know this offline that a lot of other people don't know, that I've had things, some personal things that have been going on behind the scenes that have taken a tremendous amount of time and emotional energy, just family related things, caring for parents who are getting older, being, I feel like I've been on an airplane the last 2 months more than I've been anywhere. I realized yesterday when I was talking to Dave, I had just gotten home from another trip. And after the trip I had just gotten home from before that one. And so I realized I hadn't sat at my desk for a month. An
Are you
entire,
serious?
yeah, an entire month. I mean, I'm still doing my work. I'm just, thank God for mobile technology, but I'm still doing it all. I'm just doing it in airports and, you know, using Wi-Fi in the air and doing it, sleeping on someone's pull-out couch at my in-laws, or you know what I mean? And so I guess this year I kind of wanted to start the new year off feeling really, really steady and in control of what I was doing. And it's been so fragmented for me. That's why, okay, this is a very valuable conversation for me. I'm kind of working through it all while we're talking. So it's really helpful. Thank you. But yeah, I guess that's why I felt like a little discombobulated, because I've been so all over the place. We were out of the country for a couple of weeks. I was away from home the couple of weeks before that. I just left again last week. I'm leaving again this week. So it's just been kind of jumbled. And I think that's just been adding to the fact that I feel a little extra burnt out.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've kind of been like, I'm going to staple you to your floor.
I know.
Don't slow down.
Every time you and I talk, you're like, what city are you in? Where are you? And I guess,
get your butt in your chair.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's not for lack of trying, but I don't know. I think burnout's an interesting thing. Burnout is definitely an interesting thing in general, but I think this time of year it's an especially interesting thing because we expect to be so rejuvenated after the holiday and the break and the time with family and friends if we're lucky, and yet it just sucks the life out of you in a lot of ways. It really does. And like I said, I've had a lot of stuff going on behind the curtain that has also been very emotionally draining. But I think that we have to just make space for it. We have to I'm just getting to the point now in my life where whatever it is that I'm feeling, whatever it is that I'm going through or what I'm navigating, like I'm just there for it. I don't have time to push back. I don't have the energy anymore to fight whatever it is. If I'm feeling lazy or if I'm feeling burnt or if I'm feeling, like I'm not getting enough done, I'm just kind of letting myself sit with that.
Yeah.
You know
I think
what I mean?
that's a really good idea. And, I think one of the biggest things that contributes to burnout is, somebody comes to us or a situation arises and, gets one more thing that we can handle. We're like, yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
And then that happens over and over and over. And you're just like, yeah, I've got it. I've got it. And then you're up to here and you don't got it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like an important thing that can help with the burnout is no is a one-word sentence.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
And you don't even have to be sorry. If you don't have the mental capacity for it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is learning also to prioritize in your case where you've had to put work and stuff on the back burner because family comes first for you. And absolutely that should. And that's okay. Learning to prioritize and learning the word no.
Yeah, that was not a word that was really part of my vocabulary for the better part of my young adult and adult life. I mean, honestly, it's real. I've worked really hard on using that word in therapy. And I think, and you and I have talked about this before in terms of boundaries, it's become the single biggest change I think I've made in my life is learning how to say no and learning, like right before I hit record, you and I were talking about recognizing the signs that you're approaching burnout and trying to avoid the actual falling into the burnout and being able to step back and say no or say I can't. And I'm doing that more in my life now. I've had a couple of projects recently where They were things that I very much wanted to do. I was very passionate about them. They were very time consuming. I was doing a lot of the work, and I had to say no. I had to say no for myself. And it really is not as hard as your brain makes it out to be. Like, things are always worse in our head before they're actually there in front of you, when we
Absolutely.
anticipate something. And I think for me, it's recognizing how to avoid burning out, especially in the new year, before I actually am in the thick of it. It's not easy. It's not easy. Like, survival mode kicks in. What does that look like for you? How does survival fatigue or pre-burnout feel for you? What does that look like for you?
Fatigue,
Yeah.
where I am really, really tired, and it doesn't matter how much sleep I get. I just can't seem to get enough sleep. And I have a really hard time getting out of bed. Mentally, I feel like just everything feels really, really heavy. And even just the smallest thing, where it's like, if one more thing gets thrown in front of me, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Mhm.
And so, and I was going to ask you to expand on, because some people might not have experienced burnout. They might not even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think maybe we should kind of like talk about like what that feels like to you, where you're recognizing, okay, the burnout is coming, what it is for you, and then maybe some ways that we can manage that.
Looking for mental health resources that actually fit who you are and where you come from? Then you need to check out the Help Hub. It's not another generic wellness site. It's a free, inclusive online platform built for real people living real lives. People managing stress, anxiety, depression, trauma and abuse, grief or suicide loss. At the Help Hub, you'll find the resources, tools, treatment options, and trauma-informed content you need in the moment without having to dig through endless tabs or start from scratch. It's your place to land, to take a breath, and to find exactly what you need when you need it most. Visit thehelphub.co, where the help you need is just a click away.
Yeah, definitely. I think that for me, I mean, it can manifest in a lot of different ways. Physically, like you just said, fatigue, tired, you just don't have the energy to do the normal things that you would do easily. That's one kind of signal to me. Emotionally, if I'm just feeling heavy, if maybe I tend to all of a sudden feel like I don't have the capacity to engage with people. Sometimes if I'm just speaking for myself, how it manifests in me. If I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to be around people. I don't feel comfortable engaging with people when I'm not okay in my own head. And a lot of anxiety, stress, I'm not a great sleeper to begin with, so no one should ever gauge anything relating to sleep by me, because I'm a terrible sleeper, and it's not for lack of trying. But for me, if I'm overcome by something, if I'm on that tipping point where something's, pushing me toward burnout, I'm going to be up at night. I'm going to be thinking about it. My mind is not going to shut off. I'm just going to be replaying something. And that's like that's self-perpetuating. The more you think about it, the more anxious you are. And that just the cycle keeps increasing. So the things that you can do are to prioritize. Like you and I, perfect example. You and I are making a little bit of a New Year's adjustment to the show, which I'm just deciding to talk about that now because it's fitting in this conversation that for a little bit of time going forward, we're not going to be releasing the YouTube version of our show. And the reason is because it is so unbelievably time consuming to edit and produce these shows. And while we obviously always want people to be able to kind of see behind the curtain and see us and interact with us in that visual way, it was something that was kind of gnawing at me. I've been the one who's been producing the show for a long time. And while I love doing it, there just aren't enough hours in the day. And it was stressing me out. And you and I talked about it. And it became, okay, what are the pros and cons? And does one outweigh the other? And the pro was, if we just continue focusing on the audio of this and we don't have to worry about doing this other big, huge, time-consuming piece, will that free up that space? Will that prevent burnout? Yes, it will. And you were just like, great, do it. Do it.
Absolutely.
Right. And we talked about this, you and I, that it took a lot for me to say, hey, Nosh, listen, this is a lot and it's really weighing on me. And you knew that it took a lot for me to say that. And your immediate reaction was like, great, we're not doing it then. We're not doing it. It's as simple as that. And I wish you could have been there when I read your message, when you were just like, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, next question, and I was just like, everything, my whole nervous system went down. It did.
Oh.
I must have looked like such a dope, because I was just like practically tearing up. I was so relieved. And so I think it's about being preemptive. This is a big, long answer to your question. I think a lot of it is about listening to your body, listening to what your brain, the signals that your brain is giving you. And we're all different. We all get different messages, and it's paying attention and prioritizing ourselves and our well-being. Like, you and I are hardwired to always, and this has nothing to do with being a mom. It's part of it, but it's not. Just you and I as human beings are wired very similarly. We think about all the other people first in our lives, who we care about, before we think about ourselves. So we would rather give up something ourselves or take on something ourselves than have it go the other way and impact somebody we care about. So that's why we usually never say, stop, wait, too much, abort, until it's too late, until we're already in that burnout phase. So I'm trying really hard to listen to my own signals. And I think it's important that everybody who's listening to this conversation does the same thing, because you're the only one who knows what your signals are.
Right. Absolutely. And I've said it before. I've said it before, and you just barely said it. Listening to your body is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And recognizing when it's like telling you, hey, no more. I can't take it anymore. And just, nope, I'm sorry. I can't take that on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, with your boss, a coworker, a family member, your children, that is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got something that your kids are really, really want to do or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, whether it was financially, it was emotionally, physically. But yeah, when I'm burned out too, you mentioned it before, where you don't want to be around other people. And I'll tell you what, if I'm not best friends with my bed.
That's really cute. Kind of disturbing, but cute.
I'm like, I come in and I'm like, oh, my sweet friend.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's really cute.
And I'm just like, yes, that is my safe space, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And even better if my husband's there,
mm-hmm.
where it's just like, I have that. For me, that's just like where I reset. And then of course my husband and we got a comment on a video a while back where we're talking about our husbands, and they were saying that we're codependent. And I'm like, 100%.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that conversation. Oh,
23 years. Yeah, I'm codependent.
Do you know how long Dave and I have been together? It'll be 40 years.
I know.
Right? 40,
Yeah.
I mean, 33, we'll be 33 married, but
right.
40 years together. I am proudly codependent on Dave. And yeah, I mean, we are very much our own unique humans. And he has his life and I have my life. But more important than that is our life that we have together. And, I didn't marry him so that I wouldn't spend my time with him. You know what I mean? Like that's where I want to be. But yeah, it's,
I have something funny I have to share with people.
Okay.
If you want to know,
if
you want to know if somebody is your safe space, oh my gosh, this is really embarrassing to say.
It's okay. Just go with it.
So several years ago, every time I'd walk into George's office, I would be standing there in the doorway, we'd be chatting or whatever. And then all of a sudden I would feel the need to toot.
Okay. Yep.
Every time it was happening for months. And then I don't know how I found some research, and what it is when you're around somebody that your body feels safe,
Yes, I've seen
your
this. I've read this.
internal organs and things like that relax,
Mhm.
and you got and so because your organs and your bowels relax, then it's gonna let out toot.
I love that you call
So
it
if you're
toot.
gassy around somebody a lot, they're a safe base or a safe place for you to be.
I love that you call it toot, first of all.
Well, I call it something else much more vulgar, but
okay, of course you do. Of course you do.
just for our listeners out there,
No,
that's actually what I was raised to call it when we were growing up. We were not allowed to say the F word.
Oh, the F word. That F word is my mother-in-law's least favorite word. The grandchildren would torment her by dropping that F word that ends in ART.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, I appreciate you censoring yourself for the purposes of our podcast. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you know what else I read too? And this is true. And Dave, when you're listening to this episode, this is now an explanation of why I do this. So historically speaking, you know me, I'm up super crazy early in the morning. You and I are very much opposite in that way. And I'm like up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. for the day. And, then by 10, 11 o'clock at night, like legit, I'm tired. And I don't sleep very much, but, for a few hours, I get like a bunch of solid sleep. But the point is that we will always start to watch something or do something at night, and I get overwhelmingly tired once I get into bed. But I read that the people who fall asleep in bed like that when they're with their significant other are doing that for the same reason that they're tooting around them. It's because your nervous system and everything is so comfortable with that person that you're tired. So it's the same kind of thing. And by the way, my poor mother, she's probably listening to this because she listens to every episode. Mom, it also applies to when people yawn. My mom has somehow discovered that whenever she and I are on the phone together, I yawn uncontrollably. And I don't think that happens with anybody else, but Mom, it's because I love you the most. Okay? That's why. I'm most relaxed with her. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, back to the whole New Year's, feeling burnt out, losing momentum when we feel like we kind of should be gaining momentum. Okay, what if you and I made a pact and then we agreed with everybody who's listening? Everybody makes the same pact. Let's stop pushing for all this momentum once we round into January. Let's just, if you're tired, be tired. If you need to recover. You don't have to impress anybody. You've gone through that really demanding part of the year. Give yourself a beat. Don't worry about all the expectations and just let the beginning of the year be what the beginning of the year is going to be so that you feel like you can manage it. Is that...
Well, yes, I agree. And I think actually what January should be is relax and reset.
Great. Yes.
That's the month of January. Relax and reset.
I like it.
You just survived a full sprint of the holidays because there's Halloween, then there's Thanksgiving, then there's Christmas, and there's New Year's in 90 days. It is a full it's a sprint every year.
Yep.
So how about January? Relax and reset. And then maybe in February, we're just like, okay, let's assess a few things.
Dial it up a little bit. Yeah. And let's not forget, you're just talking about the holiday season, October through December. What about all the other months before that you're surviving? If you're a parent, you have kids in school, it's the school year and it's the summer break. And let's face it, it's like life is busy, period. Hard stop. And then you're into that sprint of the holiday season. So, I mean, if you're tired right now, if you're listening to this and it's like the, early, middle January and you're just dog tired, being burnt out is not a character flaw. It's your body and your mind just being like, I need some time. Just don't be hard on yourself. Just give yourself what you need. You don't have to catch up. You don't have to be on the move. Just like Natasha said, rest and reset. Right?
Yeah, because you don't want to reach the point in which your body's like, take me out of the game, coach. I'm dying.
I know.
And it's just over there. And so, yeah, just be like, oh, yep, things are piling up. We're going to say no. We're going to sit on our couch. We're going to binge watch whatever it is for a week or two. and just relax
Yeah.
and spend some time, if your kids are right there, you're spending time together. It's literally the quality time is the proximity.
Right. Right. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. So we like to do takeaways. We like people to have at least something they can take from this podcast and maybe use in the day to day. So here's some takeaways. Burnout. We just spent 29 minutes talking about New Year burnout or holiday burnout. It shows up after the hard part of the year ends. Totally normal. Don't think you failed. You haven't. Feeling depleted does not mean you did anything wrong. It just means you survived, right? And that's what this whole podcast is about. Whatever it is that we're talking about, at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you and I talk about, it's about surviving that thing, right? So we all just survived it because here we are. It's January. And again, January doesn't have to be about reinvention. It's about rest. It's about relaxing. It's about recovering, and slowing down is a choice you get to make. It's not a weakness. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you're actually being smart and you're giving yourself what you need. And in most cases, I think that's what we all need. I know that's what I need for damn sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thanks for listening, you guys. If you're out there and you're listening, we appreciate it as always. Just spending a half an hour with us. We're going to be back next week to talk about when the joy that we feel as people who have survived something, whatever it is, some kind of trauma, feels complicated. Because I know you and I have talked about this in the past, that it's really hard to find your joy again when you're struggling, when you're grieving, when you've experienced some kind of pain in your life. So we're going to talk about that a lot next week. Until then, keep surviving, and we'll be right back here next Wednesday.
Have a good one. Thanks so much for listening and for being part of the Survivors community. No matter where you are in your story, you're not alone, and you're definitely not broken. Healing takes time, and it looks different for everyone. The fact that you're still here and still trying means you're already doing the hard work. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it too. That's how we keep these conversations going and remind each other that there's always hope.
And if you or someone you know is struggling, please remember, help is always out there. You can call or text 988 anytime to reach a trained crisis counselor like me. And for more mental health resources, tools, treatment options, and content to support your mental health, visit thehelphub.co. We're so grateful you're part of the Survivors family, and we'll be back next week with another honest conversation about life after the hardest things. Until then, take care of yourself and your people, and keep surviving.